If you have super tight upper traps and stretching isn't working, it could be because the cause is something that you haven't been thinking about. In this video, I'm going to go into what that is. I'm going to give you some better strategies than stretching to finally relieve upper trap tightness. Let me have you run a quick experiment. What I want you to do is I want you to go ahead and reach your arm forward, just like so, and take your opposite hand, put it on the same side trap. And then what I want you to do is I want you to go ahead and slouch. What did you notice happen in your trap tension as you did that? What you probably noticed was that your upper trap tension increased, and it's a big reason why stretching the traps doesn't really do a whole lot, because it doesn't address what the rib cage and the thorax is doing. The other reason, in most contemporary research, stretching likely works by increasing stretch tolerance. And there's some studies that show that that can help improve the pain experience, but the overarching problem is that it's not impacting the thorax whatsoever. So then, is the solution just to sit up straight? No. God, no. And that's because most people do not grasp what actually happens to your body when slouching occurs. You see, slouching isn't just some magical posture that your body assumes because you're on your phone too much, chilling on the computer, or anything like that. What it is it's a shape that our bodies assume in order to help us breathe more easily. But it comes at a cost, and the cost is increased muscle activity. And this muscle activity can often contribute to some of the tension that you might experience in your upper trap. During breathing, the chest wall moves forward and upward during inhalation and downward and back during exhalation. Some individuals, for a multitude of reasons, can have limited mobility on the inhalation side of things. And so if they can't move the chest forward and upward as well, what will happen is the resting tension in the chest wall tissues is going to bring this rib cage more down and back. And you can see what happens as I do that to this rib cage. It gets a little bit more rounded and slouched. Guess what happens to the neck and the shoulder blades when you assume that slouched posture? The head is going to go more forward, and then you got to tip your neck upward so you can look out into the distance. Because the trap attaches to the base of the skull and it tips the head into this position, well, that's going to increase tension in that portion of the attachment. But wait, there's more. As I slouch forward, the collarbones elevate, as do the shoulder blades, the other function of the upper trapezius. So basically, you have both attachment points of the trap increasing their resting tension because of an inability to push adequate air into the front of the chest, limiting the excursion of the rib cage. So the solution can't be just to sit upright, because when you sit upright, that just changes the orientation of the rib cage, and it doesn't necessarily change the dynamics that happen as we breathe in and breathe out. What's the real solution? Well, it's not stretching, it's not sitting upright, it's changing the dynamics and mobility of the chest wall. And we're going to utilize two tactics to address that. The first strategy that we're going to use is gravity. If we look at this water bottle right here, if I tip it so the logo is facing the ground, the water within this water bottle is going to sit more towards the logo. How does this relate to humans? Well, if we choose positions where our chest is facing the ground, we can take advantage of gravity. Because what will happen in that case is gravity is going to bias more airflow to the front of the chest wall, which will increase the dynamics. The other thing we can do is choose arm positions that will make muscles on the chest wall more eccentric or on stretch. When you reach from about 90 to 120 degrees, that helps the pec muscles, the big muscles on the front of the chest, relax, which will encourage more air into the front of the chest. Here are some drills that we can use that take advantage of those two concepts. And the first one is going to be prone on elbow. So what I'm going to have Chris do, is he's going to lie completely flat on his stomach with the legs straight. And so now I'm taking advantage of gravity, pushing everything forward. I'm going to put Chris's arms where the elbow crease is about in line with the eyes. So that's going to get us overhead. Now, what Chris is going to do is just go ahead and chill in the beginning. I want your eyes barely to drift up, looking towards your fingertips. And so I'm glad you did what you did. So what Chris did was you looked a lot up with your head. I want your eyes to just kind of drift up like that. So when you do that, what's gonna happen is it's gonna be a way more subtle neck motion. You're not gonna get, if someone ever complains of like, oh, I feel a lot in my neck, upper back area, just drift with the eyes, like you're sneakily gonna look at your fingertips. Now, I'm gonna have Chris silently breathe in through the nose, exhale, and I want you to gently just push through the inner portions of your elbows, just push them gently into the ground so your chest comes up just a little bit. Go really slow, pretend you're a sloth, and you're just gonna hold that position, silent in through the nose, exhale, breathe it out nice and easy, just keeping that gentle elbow pressure. Now, if we wanna make this more difficult, we can have less of Chris's body on the ground by doing the frog position. So with the frog position, all we did now was we widened Chris's legs out, so he's putting most of his weight on the inner portions of the knees and the elbows. So this is gonna recruit a little bit more abdominal, which is really useful. At the same time, it's going to allow us to get a little bit better range of motion gains into the front of the chest. The cues are gonna be exactly the same. So eyes are gonna drift between the fingertips, silent in through the nose. Nice, easy exhale. You're gonna press gently through the inner portions of the elbows and the inner portions of the knees this time. And that way we can get a little bit better ab engagement. We get some abs, that gets the chest to expand, gets the traps to relax. If you wanna kick it up a notch from there, then what we can do is we can narrow the base of support by using quadruped on elbows. So with this position right here, all we've done was we've narrowed the base of support, so his knees are a little bit closer to being in line with his body. I'm still flaring the elbows a little bit, because if we flare the elbows, what that's gonna do is it's gonna promote the chest to expand, just because the pecs are gonna be a little bit more on stretch. The cues, make your life easy, folks, are exactly the same. So start chill, lazy, eyes drifting between the fingertips. This time, instead of just the elbow pressure, you're gonna just gently press through the hands as well, silent in through the nose. Slow exhale, and then slowly reach like you're a sloth doing the exercise, just like that. And then you're just gonna hold that position and breathe it out. Now, if we wanted to be really mean, which, because I love Chris, we're going to, if we wanna kick it up a notch, you can just barely lift the knees off the ground. You see he's shaking a little bit now. Ooh. We're gonna have an earthquake up in Vegas right now, baby. But folks, we don't just live life on the ground. We eventually got to apply this stuff being upright so it transfers better to our daily lives. So for that, we're gonna use the same concepts in a landmine press. But here's how I'm gonna coach it so we can still take advantage of gravity the way we want it. So I'm gonna have Chris do is I want Chris to unlock his knees, and the way I'm gonna get the chest to be facing the ground is by having him hinge slightly. So what Chris is gonna do is he's gonna look about a foot ahead. That way we make sure he's not crunching. Silent in through the nose, same cues that we used before. Exhale, I want Chris to gently push his hips back and chest down. Keep looking ahead though, my man. There we go. Awesome. If he gets it right, he's gonna feel a little stretch in the back of his hips. Now from here, I want you to still look up. You're gonna take one arm, reach it overhead, same cues. Silent in through the nose. Exhale, you're gonna slowly press the weight. This arm comes down and you're gonna get a little bit of a side bending action along with it. Rinse and repeat. So it's gonna be inhale back down. Exhale, wanna make sure Chris gets a really nice reach like that. Now, as Chris is doing this, he's getting a little bit of an arch right here. So what I want you to think about, and that's a common issue people will have on this move, is go ahead and bring it back down. As you exhale, press the weight forward, get a little heavier on the heels. There, so you want the weight to shift back a little bit. That's gonna load the legs. Now you have some better options to improve that upper trap tightness. But it could be that you might be someone who still has that tendency to slouch and have some rounded shoulders. For that, I would check out this video right here, because we dive a little bit more deep into how to improve slumped shoulders.